Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to DESI TV USA. I am Tabinda Gul. Let's take a look at a very special report. Houston ethnic media organize an important discussions titled What's on the Table for Voting Rights in Texas at Southern News Group, located at 11122 Bellier Boulevard, Houston, Texas 77072. The event brought together legal expert community leaders and media professionals to address key issues related to voting rights in Texas. As the 89th Texas legislative sessions unfold, several pivotal proposals concerning voters' access and election integrity are under consideration. The panelists discussed changes in Texas voting law, the challenges faced by minorities communities, and strategies for ensuring fair elections.
Helping Hand USA is a community that is guided by gratitude. A community that sees blessings beyond just tables. It's Muslims for humanity. Let's make this Ramadan a testament to the gratitude we all share. Join us to provide orphan support, healthcare, education and training, shelter, and much more. Give your zakat today at hhrd.org/Ramadan.
They highlighted policy shift affecting voter participations and emphasized the need for greater community engagement and awareness. Now the discussions featured the following expert. Emily French, a voting rights advocate and director of policy at Common Cause Texas, has worked extensively on election protections, training volunteers, and fighting voter suppressions in Texas. Cole Blair, senior election protection attorney at Texas Civil Rights Project, has led multiple election protections campaigns and work on legal cases related to voters' rights. Jesus Zamora, Texas field director at My Familia and SEN, has been actively involved in community organizing and has served in local leadership's role. Kathy Campbell Shumway, executive director of the League of Women Voters of Houston, has expanded voters education initiative, introduced digital voters tools, and led extensive outreach program. Ethnic Media Service, led by founder and director Sandy Close, play a key role in organizing the event, alongside Win Lee Community Engagement Director, Nakia Cooper, Media Coordinator, and Yesina Razo, Outreach and Social Media Specialist. They reinforce the importance of media in educating communities about voting rights.
The League of Women Voters has wonderful voter guides, but just being able to produce those nonpartisan information of making sure that this is your candidates that are running for city council to represent you. These are their standpoints and what they're running on. And just coming at it from a lot of times we see that, yes, people at this point in time in their lives, they may not want to vote either left or right, but they're focused now on community issues. Here in Texas, I think that was one of the pinpoints we saw last year, is that community issues were one of the main topics of discussion at the forefront of crime, public safety. And those are the things that us as organizations, we're out in the community trying to address.
Can I follow up? Do you guys work with those who need help on how to get their documents, what documents they need, and then even transportation? Like, do you guys have that as well?
We do have partners that we partner with. We partner with the Mexican consulate in providing and doing tabling for Know Your Rights. We do assist with M400s and just providing that free resource to community members that are in need.
Okay. Thank you.
So, because Texas is a Republican-led state, is it actually safe to say that our Hispanic community shouldn't be scared to go to school or shouldn't be scared to go to work? I mean, we can contact our representatives all day, but if they're in the same mindset as the president and all the laws that he's already going to enact, how can we tell a community, take your kids to school and go to work, and then they get round up? How is that safe to kind of have this narrative? You should do this, but then what if something does happen, because we don't have control over the executive branch at this point?
Right, exactly. Great question. I feel that for me, what I've seen going out into the community is being able to identify. For example, we went to an apartment complex in Gulfton, and not many people were actually wanting to open the door. One of the biggest things that we saw and that we're communicating to community members is within your own apartment complex, form a group chat. So that way you keep everyone informed of what's going on. Enforcing that it is safe, and to answer your question, yes, what we do want to do is communicate to individuals that it is safe to go to school, it is safe to go to work. Have those lines of communication, just in case if anything, God forbid, were to happen. You have your neighbors, your family members that can easily come and assist. And also, I feel that us as organizations, we're working around the clock to be able to ensure that we're targeting these underserved communities.
Texas has historically had a very low voter turnout. One of the worst in the country. That's whether it's local elections, that's whether it's federal elections, statewide elections. Doesn't really matter, unfortunately. My personal belief is that a lot of that is that we don't have a voting culture or a culture of voting in Texas.
Culture of voting.
Yeah. So you can go through sociological studies that show once a person votes 2 or 3 times in their early adulthood, they're usually gonna keep voting. So I think that, to your point about speaking with younger Texans, first-time voters, get them in the mindset that there are no off years, right? We hear this term off years, and that's usually meant to be like, well, we don't have congressional elections this year, we don't have a presidential election this year. But as Jesus pointed out, we have local elections every year. We've got 2 different elections this year alone. So getting first-time voters and younger Texans involved, from high school. There are rules on the books that require high schools to register their students twice a year. Nobody does it. Just to be perfectly blunt about it, I think we did a study a few years ago, and about 20% of high schools actually followed that rule. Part of the problem is the Texas Secretary of State doesn't track compliance with it, and there's no way to enforce that. So that's what I'm saying.
There's no great public will to create culture of voting.
That's part of it, but I also think that, again, going back to what I was talking about earlier about education, voter education. We aren't, as Texans, we aren't being told and properly educated by, our state government, our local governments. It falls to groups like ours, it falls to media members like yourselves to fill in that gap. And, we're all humans in this room. We only have 24 hours in a day, and we have limited resources. So that's why I think, Jesus, to your point about band together, come together, speak into a greater community. You tell one person these things, have them tell somebody else. Kind of, get that groundswell going. So, but that's what I mean by it. We don't foster or promote a culture of voting in Texas.
And there's also the factor of voter fatigue.
Yes, we had, yeah.
May 3rd is the election in Sugar Land. We should respect a lot of the minorities in this room. And yet, the people who win will win with 2 or 3% of the vote.
Yeah, we had 7 different elections last year.
Wow.
But at the same time, I think there's a lot of these races, some races are becoming so close that minorities can swing.
Absolutely.
And that's one of the fears that I see. And the other fear is there's a lot of minorities that are now running for office, which is very unconventional to see people from different countries are now running for office. That's also
Okay, and in terms of young people registering for the first time, would this new bill mandate more hurdles they have to face to get proof of documentation?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you're asking students to carry their birth certificate around to go register to vote. You're asking college students to bring their citizenship proof to whatever college they're going to so they can register in the area that they are at schools. So you're putting huge barriers to people in that way.
Wow.
I will also just to say to the apathy and also the kind of these great barriers that we have. I've been reflecting a lot on the history of League of Women Voters and how women fought for the right to vote, and the people who had to approve it were all men. Like everybody, all of them were men. In order to approve and to allow women to vote, the right to vote. And so what I see that is that the feeling of otherness can be in there, and that is 100% valid. And there are also strong allies in other people as well. And that there are people who want to have this fight and want to protect other people, and that the rhetoric from certain people do not reflect the rhetoric of all people, and that we feel like, and I feel personally, that these fights come to us, and we have an obligation to show up, but that we're not alone in it. That everybody in this room is not alone in this work and in this fight, and that you have allies all around, and that it is it's a moving target, and there's power at play here, and when people's power is at risk, they panic. But it's our responsibility to keep on going and to keep trying, and that even though that this is happening, we can't stop. And that's what I feel, that's what I'm doing. I have a young daughter, and I think about her all day, every day, and I think about what kind of world I want her to live in, and that's what I'm doing personally. And I know that I'm not alone. We have people coming into our office every single day asking what they can do for their immigrant neighbors and everybody else. Like these databases.
Shouldn't we ask for elected representatives to work on that?
Yes, and actually if you, that would be a great idea too. Because these systems do not talk to each other, and it is to Carl's point, it is on the voter, is on the new citizen, is on the individual to make the steps to make sure that all the ducks are in a row in all these different government agencies.
So this is something that we can work on. We can get after our reps to say, work on this, we need to explore these things, right?
Sure. And I think that, so I can go ahead and go into, to introduce myself. So I said before, I'm the executive director for the League of Women Voters of Houston. And our grassroots organization has been around for over 100 years. And our founders and our members worked and fought for women's right to vote and the passage of the 19th Amendment. And so this documentation proof of citizenship directly impacts our mission and everything that we stand for. To disenfranchise millions and millions of voters across the country, and for Texas to be the first stop in that is something that that is what keeps me up at night. It truly does. And so what we are doing and what we are asking our community to do is we're asking people to call, to write, and to show up. And it's to make sure that you are calling your representatives once a week. Calling them once is great, but if you were able to set a calendar reminder, maybe it's your Friday lunch. You're like, you know what? On Friday, right before I go on the weekend, I'm gonna make sure my representatives know exactly that I do not like this bill. Just because you say it once does not mean you can't call again. They have to keep track of every single time somebody calls and approves or rejects a bill. And same thing with writing postcards, writing notes, whatever it takes. But showing up is also an option where all of your elected officials have a local office. And so even though they're doing legislation in Austin, and maybe Austin is too hard for you to get to, I get it. Then come to their local office. They have local staffers who are required to listen to you. And it's really important that they do so. And so showing up, bringing your friends, bringing your family, bringing your colleagues, that's another thing that you can do. But another thing is that if you're afraid that this could impact your community, you can talk to your employers, you can talk to your churches, you can talk to your schools, you can talk to other community members about these issues and bring it to their attention too. As you can guess, every time I'm in the room with somebody, I bring this up. It's like my table talk. I'm talking at luncheons, I'm talking at grocery stores, I'm talking about anyone, and they're like, hey, what's going on? How are things going? I'm like, well, let me tell you.
In the last, the event was covered by Pakistan Publication Inc., DESI TV USA, Pakistan Chronicle, South Asian Chronicle, and Pakistan News in partnership with Houston Ethnic Media Services. So please share this information with your community and organizations to help spread awareness. So thank you for watching and thank you for supporting. This is me, Tabinda, signing off. Stay tuned for more news. DESI TV USA, DTVNN, and our OTT platform, DTV Flix, where you can access to over 3,000 channels. So stay tuned and stay with us.
You came to this country for a brighter future for you and your loved ones. You've made it this far. Now it's time to become a citizen. With Citizenship, you gain the right to vote, access to federal jobs, the ability to keep your family closer, and the freedom to travel with a U.S. passport. These are just a few of the benefits waiting for you when you become eligible. We're here to help you through the process with free resources and personalized guidance. Together, we can make it easier. Get started at becomeacitizentoday.com.